After all these months, it finally comes down to this. One race to go and one final grudge match to decide it all. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Homestead Miami Speedway at the home of the Zero Tour Cup Series season finale. My name is Little Ramble alongside Lucas Moody. We are bringing you all of racing action from start to finish here this afternoon. And what a journey it is anticipated to be here this afternoon. Lucas, it has been a long time coming. There's been a lot of dramas over the last week or so, but all of that is being put behind us as we are set to see which driver will take it all with one final showdown here in Florida.
21 races down, just one remains, and of course, that is your championship race here at Miami Homestead Speedway. It's going to be an amazing race with our championship four. They're getting ready as we're speaking. Of course, Jamie Lee Dunning, Evan Stewart, Robert Tester, and Joshua Siegfried, your four drivers who throughout the 21 races prior put in the best, did the best work, and now we're going to be racing for the title here tonight.
Anticipated to be quite the journey this afternoon. Of course, I would reckon the odds-on favorite to win this one going to be none other than Robert Tester. Comes into this race with a head of steam after he came runner-up at Martinsville. Evan Stewart, of course, is driving for the several wins under his belt this season, looking like he wants to try and bounce for more. Jamie Lee Dunning, bit of a dark horse entering this one, was on the outside looking in for much of the playoffs, but at the right time was able to get those race wins to punch himself through to this final critical round. Now, then you have the wild card, and then there's a driver that we did not anticipate to be here this afternoon, the driver that's currently on a provisional pole. Joshua Siegfried's Menards number 2 in as the final driver. Now, what happened to Chris Mackey? I'm sure that's the question everybody's mind right now. Well, the answer is, after Martinsville, he was disqualified, found to have intentionally taken out Robert Tester for that race win. Obviously, Mackey holds a different story, but it is one that did not hold to scrutiny from the rest of the ZTRL administrative team, and so he is out. Joshua Siegfried will get his chance one more time to try and lock this championship away.
And that just even heightens the story that we see here today, where these four drivers are going to be competing for the crown here tonight. Looking at the weather, holy, not only is it a hot day, not only is it a humid day, but it is a windy day out there in Miami. We've got 90% humidity on the track. Gonna make this track very, very slick and hard to keep your tires under you. Speaking of that, your rear tires are gonna be overheating constantly due to this 110 degree Fahrenheit track temperature. And then to go on top of all of that, to add on to that, 18-mile-an-hour winds. This is going to be a tricky day for these guys out there tonight. It's
hot, it's humid, it's windy, and that means it is going to be extremely difficult track conditions out there. That has already been made perfectly evidenced through the playoff run that we've had so far this afternoon. Jamie Lee Dunning and Jonathan Dominics, just two drivers now locking themselves in to the grid this afternoon. It is anticipated to be an 11 to 12 car field here this afternoon, and right now, out of the 6 drivers that have set times, there is another 4: Austin Guerrero, Chris Gaxel, Jamie Lee Dunning, Terry Vincent, that have all tried to put down times so far. None of them have been successful.
And putting down a time with the track temperature, the weather conditions as it is going to be very, very difficult, because you're going to have to push your car to its absolute limit while trying to balance these circumstances and while trying to maintain your tire temperature. It's going to be really, really tough out there for these guys, and you have to remember, iRacing does not allow any contact with the wall on your quali laps for them to count. So you hit the wall, even if it's the slightest tap on the wall, your quali lap gets invalidated and it does not go through, which even heightens this difficulty to setting a lap here tonight.
All of this takes us to the final race here at Homestead Miami Speedway as we are ready to gear up and go racing one final time from the Sunshine State, returning to the state where it all began. We'll take a rundown of your official starting grid here as we get set to see who will be finishing this one out on top. and declare themselves the Season 2 champion of the Zero Torque Racing League. Jamie Lee Dunning comes home number 1 on pole position here this afternoon. He starts alongside Robert Tester's Pennzoil number 22, looking to start off strong this afternoon. Row 2 on the field, Joshua Siegfried starts alongside TJ Ivey. The AC Delco Camaro got taken out just 1 week ago, and Martinsville right rear hooked into the wall on what was a hugely upsetting ending for TJ Ivey's season. He is hoping for a little bit of redemption to at least end his season out on a high. Row 3 in the field, Jonathan Dominics. He starts alongside fellow Final Four contender Evan Stewart with that Louisville number 37 Mustang. Row 4 on the grid holds Ted Gamble and Terry Vincent. The Frontier number 47 starts alongside the number 6. Top 10 closed out by Austin Guerrero and Eric Morton, 2 drivers that did not put down time this afternoon. Eric Morton did not make it to the starting grid. They will be alongside Chris Gaxel and Daniel Molinari, bringing up the tail end of the field. So 11 cars will roll out at this 1.5-mile oval as we get set to see who will be finishing this one where here tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be an absolute fight out there at the front of the field. You have Jamie Lee Dunning and Robert Tester lining up side by side. And you know, Nolan, even though we're going to be 1 lap into an 160 lap race, getting out in front of the other, getting that track position and that fresh air is so crucial on a track like Homestead. They're going to be pushing each other for these moves right when that green flag drops.
Coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4 as the field is getting set to duke it out here this afternoon. The iRacing pace car will have all of its lights turned on here in this one. We will go for 1 more lap before we get this race officially underway here today. Right now, of course, the big story, who will walk out of here champion. Stage points are not going to matter here tonight. It is all going to be up to seeing who can come out on top here at the tail end of this one. The driver that looking for redemption this year, though, Robert Tester, finished second, runner-up to Akari King right at the end of the last playoff run. Just 1 season to go. Akari King Right obviously not here. We could be looking at one of the drivers that founded this league becoming its champion by the end of Season 2.
Yeah, he's looking for the victory this time. The runner-up of last season. He's not going to be holding anything back. But of course, you have to look to his teammate in Penske Racing, Joshua Siegfried, the underdog that's coming in here off of the disqualification because of Chris Mackey, able to point his way in due to Martinsville. That number 2 Menard machine has had a lot of pace all season, has not yet brought home a win this season. But he's looking for his first one tonight, and if he does win this race, he won the most important one, Nolan. Because if you win the championship race, of course, that makes you the champion, even if that was the only race you won all season. But it's going to be a hard fight, especially against guys like Jamie Lee Dunning and Evan Stewart and Robert Tester, your regular season champion.
Coming off of turn number 4, happy to join us for one final time here on Friday night. Green flag is out. It's go, go, go as we head down to turn number 1 for the final time this season. Off of turn 4, Robert Tester will lead the way at the end of the opening lap this afternoon. Jamie Lee Dunning tucks in the line with the number 2 spot. Siegfried falling back quickly as TJ Ivey trying to look for the inside line. Coming down into turn numbers 1 and 2, and Evan Stewart situated back there in 4th. Try to power off of that second corner.
Evan Stewart, of course, locking himself into this race with a win at Auto Club just 2 weeks ago. That 37 machine is usually really quick at short tracks and road courses. It's going to be a little bit of a change up to his strengths at a big intermediate like Homestead, Miami. But I'm sure Evan Stewart practiced a lot for tonight's race and definitely going to be driving out there for the win. Fastest lap, though, goes to Robert Tester. Took that lead early off of Jamie Lee Dunning and already 6/10 ahead of second place, TJ Ivey.
Evan Stewart, though, up 2 positions and trying to see if he can claw his way back through the order. Stages will be brought to a close at the end of lap numbers 40 and 80 here this afternoon. So 2 40-lap stints apiece. as Evan Stewart trying to see if he can mount a charge on the outside of Jonathan Dominics, but Dominics wanted to throw his hat into the ring here. Back into turn number 1. Jamie Lee Dunning not making it easy for Evan Stewart to keep his momentum rolling forward, and Robert Tester, 6.5 tenths clear, might be starting to run away with it.
Yeah, and of course, TJ Ivy, 5 wins on the season. Unfortunately, didn't make it into the playoffs. Currently running in second position, effectively blocking Jamie Lee Dunning and Evan Stewart from getting passes. Dunning goes all the way up into the wall, looking for a run on Ivy. Can he get it down the front stretch? He is not able to. But yeah, Ivy is just, he's quick. He's showing why he should have been in the championship 4, and honestly, I respect it. Ivy, even though he's not in the championship 4, still going to be racing for the win here tonight.
Oh, no doubt about it, but Jamie Lee Dunning might have something to say about it. Doored him twice coming off of turn 2, so already we're getting the elbows out here pretty early on here. TJ Ivy trying to look for the inside as Jamie Lee Dunning picks up the number 2 spot. Robert Tester continues to lead the way, the gap extending to almost a second already. Got up to 9.5 tenths that last time by. While most of the pack still remains single file as we come off of turn 2.
And off of turn 2, Joshua Siegfried looking for the inside move on to Jonathan Dominics. He's going to look for something into 3, but the high line at Miami is so powerful. It's really hard to get a move done on the inside. Dominics knows this. He's going to rip that high side and going to carry the momentum down the front stretch. And Siegfried is just going to have to back off unless he wants to send a dive bomb into 1. And no, he's not going to do it. Is going to have to back off into the corner.
And so Jonathan Dominics and Joshua Siegfried continue to fight this one out as Dominic slipped up a little bit on the exit of turn 2. Could that open up the door for Siegfried to try to have a look down the inside? Does not appear to be the case as Siegfried jumping up to the outside line. Dominic's clear off of turn 4. Joshua Siegfried tucks in line as they make their way down the backstretch and cruising on into turn numbers 1 and 2. Siegfried maintains his run up front. And just ahead of them, Jonathan Dominics and Evan Stewart continue to fight it out amongst themselves. Heard a little bit of a slip of the tires there from Siegfried. Might be burning those rear Goodyears up a little bit too early.
Yeah, and talking about Homestead, this is one of my absolute favorite tracks to run on the service here. And I just love ripping that high line. About a year and a half ago, back when I was racing in Collegiate iRacing League, that high line was so fast and so effective at saving your tires as well. You could use your front tires in the first half of the corner and then use your rears in the latter half of the corner, giving you a really good balance. Siegfried, he spun around out of a 2.
Heads up, back up into traffic, and does catch the wall. And a caution out early as one of the final 4 contenders goes into the outside fence.
Tough break there for Siegfried. Just gets a little bit antsy off of turn 2 there. We talked about the hot track temps, the slick track with humidity, and the wind gusts that you're going to have off the exit 2. The smallest of mistakes is going to send your car around with these conditions. And the first driver going to be caught out by these conditions today is Siegfried. And you see he just loses it out of 2 completely by himself.
Back end swings around, and right about here is where he really gets on the brakes, trying to keep it out of the wall. He was chasing it all the way through, thought he might have a chance of recovering. And he's going to go up and clip that outside wall. Tough break for the number 2 Menards machine. Not what he was hoping to have here this afternoon. So the yellow flag out for the first time today as Siegfried spins her around, coming out of that second corner. Did a good job to at least keep it off of the inside wall. And he goes up in to the outside wall as well. Well, the yellow flag out for the first time today as now we got everybody coming down pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be all 11 cars going to come down pit road here. And let's see, do they take tires or is this a fuel-only stop here for these guys? I expect no tires at all. Just get a quick little fill up and make sure that you're going to be good to the end of stage 1, and I was correct. None of the field actually took tires here. Fuel only run for everybody in the field. Besides, looks like Siegfried probably repairing some damage. Dominic's might be repairing some damage as well, as he's been in the pits for about 14.5 seconds. Or maybe Dominic's, knowing he already lost a lot of track position, taking some tires here and seeing if he can use a 10-lap tire advantage to see if he can cut his way through the pack.
So we are getting set to return to racing action once again here this afternoon. And a big point of drama coming out very early on, just on the ninth lap of this race, as driver of the number 2 finding himself going around, coming off of the second corner. Taking a look at this one at speed here, Lucas. As the Siegfried is just going to get caught up in that dirty air for Dominic's in front, as well as coming off of that hump on the top side of turn 2. Round he goes, chased it, couldn't catch it. But again, all things considered, doing a good job to at least keep the damage minimal on the Menards number 2.
Yeah, he locked it down quite effectively. So I do think that it's only going to have a little bit of front nose damage there. I don't think there's going to be any wheel damage, no engine damage, nothing like that. I think a quick 15 to 20 second repair, and that number 2 machine will be in tip-top shape. But we'll see how his pace is compared to the rest of the field on this green flag stint.
Pace car getting set to come down to pit road this time by. As we're going to make our way back around to turn numbers 3 and 4. Austin Guerrero leads the way. He is the lone driver who has opted to stay out under this yellow flag. Robert Tester still leads the championship. Jamie Lee Dunning packed up right to his back bumper. Out of turn number 4, green flag is back in the air.
Guerrero's going to be out there. He gets a great jump. And remember, usually when you see people stay out like this, they're going to be at a big tire disadvantage. But since most of the field didn't take tires, Guerrero will be on even tires compared to the rest of the pack. Evan Stewart looking for the side-by-side with TJ Ivey. And just in front of that, Jamie Lee Dunning has a file in right in front of Ivey. Risky move to the outside, but everything is A-okay. And these top 6 are under a blanket here on lap 13.
Already a quarter of the way through stage number 1. TJ Ivey having a few connection difficulties as Evan Stewart trying to mount the charge on Jamie Lee Dunning up front. Scrambling to the inside of the 37 as Dunning keeps his momentum pinned to the floor up on the outside. But Stewart looking to take second of the championship away down low. Remember, again, no bonus points, no stage points going to matter tonight. It is winner takes all in Miami. And right now, these guys are just fighting for best of the rest.
Yeah, stage points do not matter at all, like Nolan said, which makes the math really, really easy for not only us commentators, but also everybody at home watching. As Lee Dunning going to get a little bit into the wall there. That might open the door for Evan Stewart to have moved down the inside of 3. He's looking for it, but Jamie Lee Dunning, he still has that outside line. But Stewart's done a great job of clearing himself off of 4, and can he get the side job complete? He does. And now Ivey can look for the similar move down the inside of Jamie Lee Dunning into 1.
So Evan Stewart pulls around TJ Ivey, and now we'll see if he can't run down Austin Guerrero and try to attack Robert Tester up front. Only Jonathan Dominics and Joshua Siegfried taking tires under that yellow flag. Siegfried, not so much of a surprise to see him taking tires. The one that got me was to see Jonathan Dominics taking fresh Goodyears as well. Everyone else, fuel only, and I have a feeling it may have been a mistake from Dominics because 9 laps in, way too early to be taking tires at that juncture.
Definitely was a little early to take tires, but as long as you're not limited on how many sets you can have during a race, which I don't believe they are tonight, Jonathan Dominics was already back in the field, already last place. As Guerrero gets way out of line there, coming to the back straight, and he's going to drop all the way down to 8th place. Remember, he's the one that actually started the screen flag sit in first. He has now fallen down to 8th. But Dominic's, I think you're already in the back of the pack. You literally lose no positions by taking 4 tires. And if you're not limited on how many tire sets you can have in a race, why not just take the tires, get some free pace, and see if you can do anything with that pace? And as you see, he's gone from dead last all the way up to 6th. Those 4 tires working well, because even though it is 9 laps stolen, that is still a considerable pace difference. This is now looking on the inside of Chris Gaxel.
Gaxel trying to see if he can't get a run going. My worry is, not so much on the pace side, it's about late run pace. But yeah, we have 5 sets of tires, but I mean, still taking one this early leaves you vulnerable later in the race. And now Dominic and Gaxel going to make contact coming down the front straightaway, towards turn 1. So Dominic's, much like Jamie Lee Dunning, elbows up and elbows out. As he tries to power through, he is now up to 5th.
Yeah, it's the last race of the season. You're racing for it all. Even if you're not in the championship or in the playoffs, you're setting up good momentum for ZTRL Season 3. And that gets announced in just 3 weeks' time. Dominic's, he's now caught up to the back of his Keystone teammate, Jamie Lee Dunning. And Dunning is in the playoffs, but Dominic's is on quicker tires and has a lot of pace right now. So I'm curious into how the 45 and the 54 are actually going to settle this dispute, because on one hand, Dominic's is a quicker driver and logistically should go ahead, but on the other hand, Jamie Lee Dunning, he's in the playoffs. He is fighting for a championship here at Homestead. He needs to be the driver ahead to chase down TJ Ivey, Evan Stewart, the guys like that. And you can't do that when you have one of your teammates ahead of you and you have the dirty air from that. As now Gaxel looking to return the favor down the inside of Dominic's.
Well, don't forget, drivers like Chris Gaxel and Jonathan Dominic's, they're still in points battles of their own. Dominic's right now only 5 points clear of Austin Guerrero for 9th in the championship entering today. So he's make that 31 points clear entering the championship. So he's going to be relatively good, but he's still, the point is, all of these drivers still have their own individual points battles that they're looking out for in this race. And at the end of the day, yeah, you're in the playoffs. That doesn't entitle you to all of the space, though. These drivers, while it might be seen as potentially unsporting, have all the right to still go after and race you just as hard.
Yeah, and even now that I've given it a little more thought, and now that I've seen what they're doing on track, I think I understand what Jonathan Dominic's is trying to do here. He's trying to play a brick wall, essentially, behind Jamie Lee Dunning. So Jamie Lee Dunning can slow down his pace, really save his tires for a long run, and then not have to worry about getting overtaken from behind, because you have Jonathan Dominic's there defending you, protecting you, as Joshua Siegfried going down the inside of Chris Gaxel for that 6th position. So I think Dominic's is just going to sit behind his teammate Jamie Lee Dunning, allow Dunning to save his tires, and maybe even give him some pushes down the straight, as we're almost seeing there. But you're allowing the 54 to save tires, and if this stint continues on and it goes really long, Jamie Lee Dunning will have much better pace than the guys ahead, because he's been allowed to save tires without being punished the entire stint.
How many times have we seen teammates play the sacrifice card in other leagues, right? I mean, heck, you'll look back to what has happened in Formula One and venues like Interlagos and Abu Dhabi all the time about just how much those teammates will go out of their way to fight on behalf of their teammates to try and help to secure them a championship, especially when they themselves are no longer involved in the title fight. Joshua Siegfried trying to see if he can power through to the front. He's got Dominic's up on the high side, and nearly a bit of contact there as Siegfried had Dominic's come off the wall.
And Dominic's is just playing his part really well right now. He is a brick wall. Siegfried cannot get past him at the moment, which is allowing Jamie Lee Dunning to run his own race. Dominic's just running that high side, lap after lap after lap, being the pest in Joshua Siegfried's ear, just not allowing the two to get past him whatsoever. And even if Siegfried looks like he's gonna get clear by the end of the corner, an outside line has the momentum, and that 45 will have the speed down the front stretch to make sure Siegfried can't get past. But actually, Siegfried kind of has gotten past, as now he is side by side with the 54. He's actually cleared the 54 out of 2. So Siegfried has gotten past the brick wall. Great stuff from the 2 driver. Now let's see if he can close that gap to TJ Ivey ahead.
Well, now look at this. Now you have Jonathan Dominic trying to overtake Jamie Lee Dunning. Might be trying to see if he can't run down Joshua Siegfried and help to drag him back in the line with Jamie Lee Dunning. Chris Gaxel and Terry Vincent, meanwhile, right behind these drivers. We haven't really talked about this number 7 car too much tonight, but Terry Vincent out here making his Zero Torque Racing League debut on Friday night with the Hellman's number 6 Chevy Camaro. And Terry Vincent at the moment up by the outside wall, and he's trying to make a good impression here. He's looking for the inside of Chris Gaxel. That puts him at a 7th.
Yep, the 6 machine now in 7th as he gets past the 707 of Chris Gaxel. He might also be looking for the move on to Jamie Lee Dunning, as I assume Jamie Lee Dunning would try to be saving his tires here, trying to be managing his pace for a long run stint here. But Nolan, it looks like the 54 is actually falling off, and he might have burnt up all of his stuff. And yet, to even further improve my point, he's hitting the wall off of turn 2, which shows that he's having problems with understeer. So I think the 54 has maybe burned up his tires a little too much, used too much of his stuff, even though I thought he was going to be doing the exact opposite.
TJ Ivey's issues with his connection have been persistent all throughout this race, and he is continuing to struggle with them. In fact, right there, you saw another one as Ivey is struggling to keep that connection. If he doesn't get that sorted, iRacing may very well give him that connection flag, which would see him permanently out of this race. And that would put a damper on ending the season very, very quietly, much more so than he would have liked.
Yeah, if you're looking at the timing tower in your top left, every time you see that his gap to the leader turn into a 0 second, that's him blinking out. And that is happening probably once every 3 or 4 seconds. It's happening very frequently. And of course, iRacing did throw the update where if you are having internet issues, they will just automatically kick you from the session against the stewards. Like, the stewards don't have to do anything, essentially. iRacing will just auto kick you, and the stewards can't even prevent that from happening if they have that setting turned on when they made the session. So if this keeps happening for Ivey and iRacing thinks it's a problem, he will get booted from the session. As here we go, Terry Vincent, first race of the season he's making an appearance in, up into 6th now, past their playoff driver of Jamie Lee Dunning. Great run so far for the Hellman's number 6 Chevy Camaro.
Oh, that dirty air is going to wash Jamie Lee Dunning up the track. Here comes Gaxel as well as Daniel Molinari. Molinari thought about 3 wide. He's going to think better of it. And so Gaxel and Molinari head into the bottom as Jamie Lee Dunning remains up on that outside line. Dunning, though, trying to go for the crossover. Look into the inside of Gaxel, and he's got him. Could we see a battle of sliders started to take place? Not quite, as Gaxel has the nose in on the outside. Trying to see if he can't pull this one forward and get back with Jamie Lee Dunning, but for the time being, Dunning continues to retain that 5th place, make that 7th place on the inside, but Gaxel says not for long. He wants the spot. Daniel Molinari looking for 3.
Molinari now is waiting in the wings between this battle of Jamie Lee Dunning and Chris Gaxel. Gaxel still trying to look around the outside. Molinari maybe seeing if he can follow up out of 2. But Jamie Lee Dunning, he's still there running the inside line. Super impressive stuff from Jamie Lee Dunning, especially considering how awful that inside line feels to run, especially when you have a guy just ripping the high line outside of you. But Jamie Lee Dunning able to keep this battle side by side for 2 to 3 laps on end now. And just as I'm saying that, Nolan, Chris Gaxel finally able to get past Jamie Lee Dunning, moving Gaxel up into 7th.
A battle for the lead developing as well as Evan Stewart, little by little, has worked to run down Robert Tester. And they've got themselves that stage break coming up at only 6 1/4 laps here. So Tester is running out of time here to hold on to this spot here. If he doesn't want Evan Stewart to be starting this race on pole position, he's got to find some extra pace.
Yeah, Stewart has to now look for the moves onto Robert Tester, and this is the battle of your 2 favorites here in the playoffs. Of course, TJ Ivey being one of the definite favorites to win this championship, but unfortunately not making it to the Final Four. The two favorites coming into this race are definitely Robert Tester and Evan Stewart. Tester, 3 wins on the season, your regular season champion, one of the quickest drivers from start to end, always has pace, and is always up there fighting for those top 5 positions. Evan Stewart, on the other hand, you're looking at 5 wins on the season so far, coming at tracks like Richmond, coming at tracks like the Roval. If there's a short track, if it's a road course, this 37 machine will have pace. And coming off of 2, Evan Stewart showing he has more pace than Tester at the moment. I think he saved his tires better. He's gonna look for the lead before this stage ends.
Tester continues his run on top as Evan Stewart will look down to the inside line. Still no joy though from Evan Stewart, but he is close enough to start to go on offense here. So with just 4 laps to go, the question remains now, can Robert Tester maintain his gap up front? Evan Stewart wanting to go for the race lead. And the Pennzoil number 22 going to retain that gap out of himself. Lucas, we're looking for 3 to go at the line.
Yeah, and at this point, Guerrero actually going to make his way down pit road before the stage caution is thrown. But at this point, all Tester has to do to defend from Evan Stewart is any time you see Stewart looking for the inside, just rip that high line. It is so hard to get down the inside and get an overtake done if someone's just ripping that high side, especially when they're this even on pace. Tester can run the low side when he's not under pressure from Stewart behind. Then as soon as he sees Stewart go for a move, take that high line and just rip it and just keep the momentum and keep defending using that high side. But I think what Tester is also doing is he's trying to guess what lane Stewart wants to run, and every single lap, he's trying to give Stewart as much dirty air as he possibly can by playing the guessing game. Is Stewart going to run high this time? Is Stewart going to run low this time? And he's playing it really well as the last 4 corners, Tester has guessed correctly and kept clean air off of Stewart's front nose.
Oh, but Tester's up close to the wall this time, and we're coming down to it. 1 lap to go in the opening stage of the night. So Tester still leads the way. Evan Stewart hot on his heel as he tries to get the run going here this time by. Tester will look to drive this one through. There goes Evan Stewart again, cut to the inside. Not able to get the job done. Looking for the lead here into turn numbers 3 and 4. And Evan Stewart coming off that final corner. Who's going to get the win here in the opening stage? Tester pulls back around him, and Tester for the win in stage number 1. Ivy 3rd, Dominic's 4th, Siegfried will come home 5th, with Gaxel, Molinari, Vincent, Jamie Lee Dunning, and Ted Gamble going to bring up the rear. Stage number 1 officially in the books.
And just under 1/10 of a second is your gap for the stage 1 win for Robert Tester. As you see there, 0.088 of a second. Amazing battle those two gave us right at the line there. And I cannot wait for more racing like that in the next coming stages.
So the pace car going to make its run onto the racetrack, and we are gearing up for yet more action this afternoon. Let's take a run down, and we'll take a step back. We return. It's the Green Flag once again on Green Flag TV. You're watching the final race in the playoffs on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Tester first in, first out as we return to Homestead Miami Speedway. Evan Stewart hot on his heels as it is 4 tires and fuel going to be the call for everybody here this afternoon. Austin Guerrero gets the Lucky Dog free pass. He is now only 1 lap down in racing action this afternoon. Once again, my name is Will Remble alongside Luke Moody. We're bringing you all the action here from start to finish in the Zero Torque Racing League Cup Series here on Friday night. It's anticipated to be quite the journey for a good chunk of this field.
Yeah, quite the journey indeed. And remember, you have to think of those weather conditions. They're still looming over the heads of these drivers. Hot track, humid track, and windy track. We already saw one driver, that being Joshua Siegfried, get caught out by those 3 weather conditions combined. Coming off of turn 2, had a self-spin, put himself to the back of the pack because of that. But besides that, these drivers have been doing a really good job of managing the tricky conditions out there and giving us some good racing. Coming out of the pits, Tester and Stewart are still going to be your 2 leaders. The 2 cars we saw battling it out on the last lap of the first stage. At the line, it was just 88 milliseconds that separated the 37 and the 22. And I really, really hope we can continue seeing great battles like that between 2 of the favorites to win this championship for. But adding on to that battle, I hope that we can see Joshua Siegfried and Jamie Lee Dunning making some leaps in their pace to get up there to this top 4 and join that battle. So we get a really good 4-car battle for this championship for both other guys that have been really quick tonight, like TJ Ivey, like Jonathan Dominics, are going to get a little bit in their way and make it a little bit harder for some of these guys to join the battle. But I cannot wait for stage 2 to kick off. We're going to see some great action.
Green flag back in the air as Robert Tester going to lead them down into turn number 1. Evan Stewart, TJ Ivey, and more all in lockstep as they make their way back into turn numbers 1 and 2. Joshua Siegfried hot on the heels of the number 37 and the 88. As man, Evan Stewart almost caught that outside wall. TJ Ivey starting to see if he can't run away with the number 2 spot, but again, those connection issues continue to persist since the drop of the green flag this afternoon.
And Ivey makes a bold move to get his 88 machine up into second place. And Evan Stewart, he's got 2 options at this point, as we see Jamie Lee Dunning looking for the inside of Terry Vincent coming into turn 2. They're going to stay side by side through that. This is happening just behind Chris Gaxel. And it looks like Terry Vincent doing a great job of holding that outside line and making Jamie Lee Dunning have to back off. But and now oh my gosh, Siegfried's around!
Oh my goodness, Siegfried spinning around hard into the outside wall for the second time. The Menards number 2 is sent sideways, and this time a harsh lick into the outside fence puts the number 2 down and out. That car hung up on the apron as he tries to get himself righted.
That was such a long spin. It was really bizarre how that all kicked off. Definitely have to take another look at that. But Siegfried was sideways for about, I mean, half of a second, or not even half a second, like 3 to 4 seconds there before he got hit by Dominics and got fully into the wall. Let's take another look at this, though.
Dominic's going to get into the back bumper of the number 2. And obviously at that point, the 2 is sideways, and he's trying to chase it as much as he can through turn numbers 3 and 4. But finally, the back end going to swing back the other way and pancakes the left side of that car up against the outside fence.
Yeah, hard hit into the outside wall for the 2 machine, and your surprise entry for the night might have his race over now, as there's no fast repairs in this league, don't forget. So he's gonna have to get all of this damage manually fixed. And taking another look at it, we can see how hard this hit was into the wall at speed. And honestly, it wasn't terrible, and luckily it was a side impact, not a front-on collision. So the risk of wheel damage, the risk of engine damage is much lower when you go into the wall sideways like that, at least. But coming off a pit road, you see the entire field is out there besides Joshua Siegfried. He's staying back to get some repairs done to his number 2 machine.
Jonathan Dominic's also made it out on the racetrack after he turns the number 2, going into turn number 3. Take a ride on board.
On board at the 45, you see just gets the slightest bit to Siegfried.
Looks to me like maybe Siegfried just braked a little earlier than Dominic's was expecting. I don't think he was intending to turn him. I feel like if he would have probably just run through him. And we saw that, how many times at Martinsville last week?
Yeah, we've gotten pretty familiar with what driving through somebody else looks like at this point. But yeah, definitely not intentional from first glance. I think Dominic's just, Siegfried broke a little earlier than Dominic's was expecting. A little bit of contact being made into turn 1 is gonna offset the balance of Joshua Siegfried's car there, made it unhappy. And you saw that very, very slow spin there. And Dominic's was trying his best to slow down and not end up into the 2 even more than he already was. But besides just completely getting on the brakes, locking it up, and not only risk being hit from behind, but also risk dropping, bleeding places because of that, wasn't much more he could do there. He tried to slow up as much as he could without risking anything else happening, but unfortunately Siegfried was not able to recover the car before a second contact was made.
2 cautions for incidents today, 3 overall. Both of the ones for incidents brought out by the number 2, facing the wrong way. One of those was a self-spin while chasing down Evan Stewart. The second had some help for the number 45. Green flag coming out this time by as Jonathan Dominic's, after not coming down pit road, will look to lead the field back to the green.
The green flag is out. Dominic's is away. Ivy's once again having some connection issues, but he's still looking for the lead of this race. He's looking for the inside of Jonathan Dominic's into turn 1. And coming off of turn 2, they're going to be side by side all the way down the back stretch. Further behind, Jamie Lee Dunning looking for the inside of Tester.
Dominic's trying to rip this one around the high side. TJ Ivy maintains his momentum down low. So Ivy and Dominic's running 1-2. Headed down the back straightaway. The number 37 of Evan Stewart caught up in the mix as well. Terry Vincent back in 4th. And so the battles continue on. TJ Ivy leads the way. Evan Stewart trying to see if he can't run away with this championship now from 3rd.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Dominic's and TJ Ivy, 2 non-playoff drivers, locking out that 1st and 2nd spot at the moment, with Evan Stewart, your first driver in the playoffs. He's sitting all the way back there in 3rd. He's still, though, going to want to look for these moves on Dominic's and Ivy to try and put cars in between him and Jamie Lee Dunning and Robert Tessa, the guys behind him. As much cars in between them as you can to try and help your circumstance, to try and make it harder for Tester and Jamie Lee Dunning to actually catch up with you. But Tester seems to have a big drop off of pace here, as he's currently 7th position, just getting passed by Chris Gaxel. And I wonder if the 22 machine is having problems, or if maybe he's burnt up his stuff, or he's either saving his stuff. It's hard to quite tell just yet. We'll have to watch the 22 machine and what Tester does over the next 5 or 10 laps or so to see what kind of problems he's actually having.
Might be on the fuel strategy here. We did see drivers coming down pit road for a splash and go in stage 1, just like we did here in stage 2. The difference here, of course, being the fact that in stage number 2, that yellow flag came out way earlier than it did in the opening stage, so I might be trying to see if he can't stretch this one to the end without having to come down pit road. Dominic's leading the way now as he goes around the outside of TJ Ivy. Ivy did set the fast lap of the race a few laps ago. And as the sun continues to crest towards the horizon, the 45 continues to lead the charge up high. And TJIV and he remain in a dogfight for the number 1 spot.
And who else could it be waiting in the wings besides Evan Stewart? Just 0.2 of a second off of the leader now. Stewart's gonna maybe look for the middle of 3 wide off of 4. Can't quite find it, but still, with Dominics and Ivy battling as hard as they are right now, one mistake from either of them gives the opportunity over to Evan Stewart and allows for that 37 machine to take control of this race. Just one slip up is all Stewart needs from these guys ahead for him to take point. But these two, Dominic and Ivy, are giving us a really good battle right now as they're going to start their 3rd consecutive lap side by side. And they're going to come out of 4 right now and down the start finish straight. Can Dominic's finally clear Ivy using momentum for the outside line? Not quite.
He'll get him to 1 though. And so TJ Ivy gonna try to stuff it back in there. He wants to finish this one off with 1 final race win on his season. It would be huge for him if he could get the job done, but right now he's got to worry more about Evan Stewart, one of the playoff contenders from behind. And Evan Stewart manages to fight his way around TJ Ivy. So Evan Stewart trying to now run away with this one. He looks to charge to the lead of this race, while Jamie Lee Dunning maintains his run at 4th right now, the closest competitor to the number 37.
Stewart is able to get past TJ Ivy. Jamie Lee Dunning now has more work to do if he wants to catch up to the rear bumper of Evan Stewart. And yeah, looking at Robert Tester, 2.3 seconds off the lead. He has dropped off on pace considerably then from what we saw in this first stint. So he is either tire saving, fuel saving, or nursing some really big issues. So Tester looking for an alternate strategy here to take home the win at the end of the day. Now Jamie Lee Dunning is going to be actually under attack from Terry Vincent. This is not what the fireman needs at all. He needs to be making moves forward, not losing them and going backwards. But Terry Vincent is having a lot of pace today. In his first race of the season, he's showing that he came out here to compete as he moves his way up into 4th, past 3 playoff drivers now Terry Vincent is ahead of.
Now the Hellman's Camaro started his race back in the 8th place spot and is now trying to see if he can't contend for a podium position here, but Jamie Lee Dunning not going to take that line down. He looks to the inside of the number 6, coming down into turn number 1. And the 54 not able to get as much of a run as he might have liked, but into the wall goes both drivers. Terry Vincent definitely more so than Jamie Lee Dunning. As the fights continue on, Dana Molinari slow off of turn 2.
Molinari a little slow off too, but he's already back there in 11th, so not too much loss from him. We can actually take a look at this now as he actually didn't start 11th. I think this is going to be the spin that caused him to drop back all the way back there. Yes,
boy.
It is. So, good save. Good save. But yeah, drop from 8th to 11th on that little sideways action.
And now to the inside of Dominic's goes Evan Stewart once again charging for the top spot. 20 laps to go, halfway through stage number 2 and halfway to the halfway point in this race as Evan Stewart continues to hold that one to the inside line of Jonathan Dominic's. And this time Stewart's going to clear him, but Dominic's trying to look back for the inside.
Dominic's has that inside now. Into turns 3 and 4 they go. Stewart opting for that middle line, seeing if he can use it to carry momentum down the front stretch. Dominic's maybe has a little advantage in the middle of the corner, but by the time they get to the exit, they're nose by nose crossing the stripe into turn 1. They're still neck and neck coming through turns 1 and 2. Oh my gosh, this battle. They almost touch coming off a 2, and Dominic's looks like he's cleared it, but no, Stewart is still there, living to fight another day.
You know, for this only being an 11-car race, they're putting on as much of a show as you could have hoped for. Evan Stewart continues to fight this one around the outside. Jonathan Dominic's. Stewart retains the speed down on the low side. And they remain in lockstep down the front chute and back to turn 1. Still 2 by. Dominic's nearly running into the door of Evan Stewart that time through. And he's going to force the issue to get clear, and they're both in the wall.
Yeah, Dominic's giving Stewart a little bit of door-to-door contact, kind of throwing him off a game, or throwing him off his game just the slightest bit. And that allowed Dominic's to finally make that move down the inside. But Stewart is not done yet. He's not going to take it lying down, as you said earlier, Nolan. He's going to look for the inside once more to turns 1. And in the corner, you can see he's able to use that inside line to get track advantage, but he has to go for the slide job instantly if he doesn't want that run around the outside to pan out. And he does. Stewart, magnificent slide job, takes the lead of the race. And with just 16 laps to go in stage 2, Stewart in great position now to take that second stage win.
Jamie Lee Dunning at the same time taking over a spot from from TJ Ivy, and now trying to run down Terry Vincent, who currently leads the way in his first ever start in this league. Vincent continued to hold that one to the inside line, while Dominic's and Evan Stewart hold a 7 7/10 of 1 second gap respectively. Back to third, Terry Vincent to the wall.
Terry Vincent clips the wall out of 2. That might open the door for Jamie Lee Dunning into 3, but no, Dunning isn't able to find a good run off of 2. So he has to stay behind the 6. One more lap. And every lap, Nolan, that Jamie Lee Dunning is stuck behind Terry Vincent is another lap where Jonathan Dominic's, Evan Stewart, the guys he really needs to be fighting, are just pulling further and further ahead. Because as you noticed, Jamie Lee Dunning is not trying to run this alternate fuel or tire strategy that Robert Tester and Joshua Siegfried are. So he really has to start being competitive early on in this stint if he doesn't want to get caught out by the other 3 guys he's competing with for this championship 4. And coming off of 4, Dunning still does not have an answer for Vincent.
No answer yet, but it is still a long way to go in racing action here this afternoon. Dunning catches the wall. TJ Ivy looking like may have almost done the same. And there's the look as TJ Ivy gets set to try to run the gap down. There goes Robert Tester looking to the inside of the AC Delco 88. And now the stadium lights have kicked on over Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll be racing into the sunset here this afternoon.
And with the sun going down, the air will cool down, and so will the track, giving these drivers more grip to their disposal. But Jamie Lee Dunning hits the wall out of 2. That opens the door for TJ Ivy. That opens the door for Robert Tester. And in a blink of an eye, Dunning falls from 4th to 6th, once again going the wrong way, unfortunately, in this race. The 54 has to find something by the end of this race if he wants to be crowned the champion. But luckily for him, Nolan, he's still got 91 laps to find what he's missing, find the extra pace these guys have over him.
Oh, hold on!
Last 91 laps to learn. Oh, Tester getting a little loose out of 2.
Big moment for Robert Tester, and that lets TJ Ivy build a gap. Jamie Lee Dunning trying to go back at him. Not going to go for the move, though, into turn 3. He thought about it, but decides against it. So Tester continues to lead the charge up front, with Dunning hot on his heels.
Jamie Lee Dunning looking for the positions back that he just lost, seeing if he can find the inside of Robert Tester, but Tester's running that high side line, so he's going to have more momentum through the corners, more momentum out of the corners, which will keep his speed up over the lap entirely as a whole. And yeah, Tester almost looking for the inside of TJ Ivy. I mean, he's looking a little feisty out there in the lane.
They looked for it, was not close enough to hold it, though. So Tester's run for 4th place continues on. Only 10 laps to go in stage 2. Now TJ Ivy is the one getting a little bit crossed up out of the second corner. He's going to go defensive into turn 3.
TJ Ivy opting to block the inside line instead of that high side. which I'm not the biggest fan of, because now you're giving Tester that outside line that usually carries momentum, but Ivy puts on a great block, and they're bumping each other down the stripe.
Shut him off at the pass as Robert Tester continues his momentum all the way up around the outside. Oh, man, and now Tester glances off the wall in 2.
And now they're approaching some lap traffic. That 24 Steelers machine of Austin Guerrero are going to sink all the way up to that high side wall, not opt to interfere with this battle. But no, he's on quicker tires, Nolan. He is going to manage to stay in front of them, but now he's going to play a pick in this battle. Robert Tester.
Oh, you are kidding me! Austin Guerrero just cleaned Robert Tester out. And they're fighting.
Oh my.
No words. Instant disqualification for Austin Guerrero. It could not have been more blatant. It is a crying shame what this championship has devolved to. That we have people acting like toddlers throwing temper tantrums on the racetrack. I am out of excuses to give. Austin Guerrero, shame on you.
I have never been more petrified casting anything in my entire life than what I have just seen. I mean, so blatant.
Watch those wheels. Hard left. Right into the right rear.
That.
Remember what happened to TJ Ivey at Martinsville as well. When he got right reared into the wall. Not by Tester or Guerrero, but he definitely got right reared.
And look at Guerrero. To even prove his point, drives right back into the 22. Watch this.
I mean, that...
Oh my.
That throws any form of deniability that... Any sliver that there may have been completely out the window.
Clear as day. I mean, there's nothing more we can say.
That is disgusting. Austin Guerrero deserves to be banned from the Zero Toy Race League. He does not deserve to ever step foot in a race car again. That is words I cannot say. It's a shame. We were hoping to have a good race. We were hoping to put all the dramas of last week behind us and just finish the season up high. And now this race has been irreversibly tainted with blatant championship manipulation.
I am just in so much disbelief that
anybody that is defending that, don't. You are not making yourselves look better. No one can defend that. Absolutely not. Tester has done nothing tonight to deserve that.
I'm at a complete loss for words. I don't know. I always talk about, you know, these guys being under permanent cautions, having to lock in and, you know, reset their mental. I'm gonna have to do the same thing up here in the booth, because after what I just saw, I need a complete mental reset to get back into the mood of wanting to finish casting this race. Because, I mean, after what I just saw, just the blatant disrespect between drivers, it's so hard to bring myself out of that and continue this with the clean conscience.
It'll be a 4-lap dash to end stage number 2. We only have 9 cars left on track for the final, well, we hope to have 9 cars left on track for what will be the final 84 laps of this race, sorry. Final 4 laps coming up after an inexcusable, disgusting display of driving. We're back to green. Evan Stewart leads the way back into turn number 1. TJ Ivey and Terry Vincent second and third. Jamie Lee Dunning back in fourth. Chris Gaxel in fifth.
Ivy looking for the inside of Terry Vincent for second place. These two battling it out now. Team, who's going to be the one that brings the battle to Evan Stewart by the time the stage 2 comes to a close? TJ Ivey wins the battle on track. He's now up into second. He's got 3 laps to close down this half a second gap to Evan Stewart ahead to see if he can be the stage 2 winner.
Stewart with a half a second advantage. Jamie Lee Dunning 1 second down, back and forth. Not seeing any chance of Jamie Lee Dunning coming back to win this second stage. And so off of turn 4, Stewart continues to lead. TJ Ivey second, Terry Vincent third. 79 laps to go. And for the moment, it is looking like Evan Stewart will get the walk-off in stage 2.
Yeah, Stewart has driven a really, really solid stage 2. Started it down and third, but made his way around Jonathan Dominics and TJ Ivey. And since he's taken control of this stage, he has not looked back whatsoever, as he will be leading it to the 1 to go to the end of stage 2. And I don't think it's going to be contested at all, as TJ Ivey still 0.8 of a second behind. Evan Stewart going to be your uncontested stage 2 winner as the caution's thrown now.
Yeah, 1 lap early, unfortunately. Possibly an instant with Joshua Siegfried, hard to tell. Gonna get a quick look back here. But it does look like Evan Stewart will have the easy win in this one. And yeah, no, Jonathan Dominics is just too far back, so 1 lap early deployment, but Evan Stewart does take the win. TJ Ivey second, Terry Vincent third, Gaxel fourth, Jamie Lee Dunning fifth. Gamble, Molinari, Siegfried, Dominics round out the running order. 9 laps, nine, what am I talking about? 9 laps to go? 80 laps to go. Stage 2 is in the books. 9 drivers, there we go. 9 drivers left on the race.
That's the 9.
I had it somewhere. I had it somewhere. I just needed to find it. Needed to dig it up from the
Beatles song.
Recess. Am I? I don't know.
Number 9?
I've never. I don't listen to the Beatles, man. You're tossing references that even I don't know. And you're younger than me. I should know these references.
Only by 4 years though, as I found out a couple days ago.
Evidently, yeah. Coming down pit road, Evan Stewart will lead them down and into the box. So here we go. Coming down to the lane as Evan Stewart leads them in. TJ Ivey will be in, as well as everyone. He's going to be in. Jamie Lee Dunning's missed the stall. How bad will that impact his attempts at going for a run?
Siegfried, first one off of pit road. He's going to be followed up by Jonathan Dominics. And third, TJ Ivey wins the battle over Evan Stewart. And Stewart, who won stage 2, was the first one into his box, is going to be the 4th one out of his box. And I'm assuming that's because he took more tires than the rest of the field. I'm assuming it's going to be 2 tires for the 3 guys ahead, and Stewart and some of the other guys behind took 4. That's my guess. I could be wrong. But based on how much time he lost and how many places he lost, unless he made a brutal error coming into pit lane, I think he took 4, with the others taking 2.
So we get set to duke it out all over again. We are over halfway home, 1 lap left to green. And Lucas, let's recap. After Robert Tester has been eliminated, Jamie Lee Dunning with a pit stop mistake back in 7th. Evan Stewart holds on to the lead. Joshua Siegfried all the way up front.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 Championship 4 drivers remaining in this race. Of course, we had Evan Stewart winning your last stint, proving that in winning your last stage, excuse me, proving that in recent memory, Evan Stewart has the quickest pace out there on the track today. But with Joshua Siegfried jumping in the pit stop, he's going to be the one in control of the start of this 3rd stage. And he's going to be one with the fresh air, have the track position. He's going to be the one to make Evan Stewart chase him down for this crown here tonight. But you cannot count out Jamie Lee Dunning. He's been a little off the pace today, but I'm hoping he can find what he's missing, pick it up, and really challenge Evan Stewart and Joshua Siegfried for this crown here tonight.
TJ Ivey has yet again had connection problems, and this time it looks like he might be very well done for this one. So green flag is back in the air. We are right back to racing, as it were. Siegfried leading the way.
Siegfried gets a good jump on the field. Terry Vincent already trying to go down the inside of Jonathan Dominic, seeing if he can snatch that 2nd place away from him. Out of 2, it's close, but Vincent gets a little loose. He's going to now back off because he's losing many spots now. He's lost a spot to Dominic's, and now he's also under attack from Evan Stewart behind for the 3rd place. And oh my gosh, Jamie Lee Dunning might be looking to thread the needle 3 wide.
Siegfried running in the lead. Dominic 2nd, Evan Stewart and Terry Vincent 3rd and 4th. Cruising into turn numbers 1 and 2 this time by. So here we go. Final stage underway. Final 75 and a half laps of the season. And right now, it is the dark horse, the driver we didn't expect to see in the Final 4, leading the way, looking to win a championship. Oh my goodness.
The dark horse.
Joshua Siegfried has just been disqualified. Siegfried is out of this race. No idea what for.
What?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you called him the dark horse. Literally just went dark on us.
So Joshua Siegfried is out. We're down to 2. Evan Stewart and Jamie Lee Dunning. With no explanation, Siegfried has been disqualified.
I mean, what a race it has been so far.
I'm struggling to call it that at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm witnessing.
More of a bumper cars, I guess you could say, kind of like Martinsville last week, but Evan Stewart takes lead of the race, and with only 2 playoff drivers left remaining in the race, it's him versus Jamie Lee Dunning, and Evan Stewart has done a great job all race, showing his pace, proving his pace. He's got 0.8 of a second currently on his only other contender left in the field, and I mean, it's obviously, I'm not trying to write the finish 72 laps to the finish, but Evan Stewart is doing an amazing job out here all day, and it's going to be hard for Jamie Lee Dunning to close this gap now at this point in the race.
So 7 cars now on the racetrack. As Terry Vincent, Jonathan Dominics, and Jamie Lee Dunning all continue to lead the charge. The fights are going to keep on going.
talk about fights. We have battles between Keystone Motorsports teammates as Dominic's might look for the inside of Jamie Lee Dunning here. Of course, Jamie Lee Dunning fighting for the championship still, but Dominic's has had a lot of pace today, and he's still going to be challenging his teammate, looking for something at a 1 and 2. Not going to quite find anything, but now it's just Harry Vincent in between Jamie Lee Dunning and Evan Stewart as Jonathan Dominics goes way down the track coming off a 2.
So Evan Stewart continuing to lead the way. Terry Vincent second. Jamie Lee Dunning back in third. The fight is on for fourth between Jonathan Dominics and Chris Gaxel as they cruise back into turn numbers 1 and 2. And you can see that Coldstream Clear 45 Camry still doing a good job holding on ahead of the Dark Horse Mustang.
Yeah, Chris Gaxel, of course, that 707 machine was in the finals for your Not In Playoffs tournament. He was going against Adam Hogland on this account, and since the 12 machine of Hogland is not here, Chris Gaxel will be crowned your winner of the Not In Playoffs tournament and receive the prize of $100. So congratulations to Chris Gaxel. Even though he wasn't in the top 16 here in Season 2 of Zero Torque Racing League, he can be happy knowing that he gets $100 and was the quickest of the guys not in the playoffs.
So Jamie Lee Dunning going to continue to fight this one out. Terry Vincent still leading the way up front on that number 6 as we will take 67 laps to go. Lucas, at this point, I'm a little bit at a loss for words on what we're seeing here. I mean, I've been doing this professionally on iRacing for 8 years now. You know, doing Green Flag TV for almost 4. I have never in my life ever seen a race go down to this. Dare I say it, Bowman Gray races. I've never seen one have such a dramatic end like this.
I mean, I was just about to say the same thing. I am at a complete loss for words as well. One song keeps playing in my mind. It's a song that definitely nobody in chat has ever heard of. It's Da Vinci by my favorite band, Weezer. And the chorus, and it goes, I'm at a loss for words, I'm at a loss for words. Just repeats, I'm at a loss for words. And that song is just playing on repeat in my mind right now because I honestly, at this point, don't know too much of what to say because with everything that's happened here, I mean, you talked about it, you've been casting for 8 years or something. I am very new to casting, and even newer to casting racing in general. To think about it, I've only been casting for a year and a half, just under 2 years at this point, and casting iRacing for 7 or 8 months. And I mean, you talk about this is something unlike you've ever seen in 8 years. This is definitely something unlike I've ever seen in just the 7 or 8 months I've been doing this. And I mean, this day, this night will always stick around in my mind for the rest of my life. It's just like one of the casts that was like, yeah, that happened, that existed, and that was a championship race that you casted abroad.
Tell you what, Lucas, let's ride on board here with Jamie Lee Dunning. We'll let these guys feel the noise as Lee Dunning catches the wall. Evan Stewart continues to lead the way from Homestead Miami Speedway. Battle on for the number 4 spot. Chris Gexel and Jonathan Dominics continue to battle it out. And so at the moment, Dominics hunting for the inside of Gexel, pushing up in front of the 707. Jamie Lee Dunning as well going after Terry Vincent, and now nothing stands between the 54 and Evan Stewart unless Terry Vincent, with that debut start, can pull back around him. And so Evan Stewart continues to lead the way.
Evan Stewart up to now a 3.7 second lead over second place Jamie Lee Dunning, but Jamie Lee Dunning is, as you said, under fire from Terry Vincent right now, and Vincent does have that outside line, but Dunning does a great job to get the run off of 4, block that run he had on the outside line, and now into 1. Vincent does not have an answer on the inside, and Jamie Lee Dunning is finally set free to chase down your leader, chase down Evan Stewart for this championship win. That gap just now 4 seconds.
Ted Gamble with problems. It's big problems, it looks like. Never mind. I apologize. Ted Gamble did not have issues. I am so sorry. Ted Gamble. Oh,
we're all losing our minds.
He actually might have. So he came down pit road, came back out of pit road, potentially had a secondary incident because he's been down pit road twice in the last 3 laps. So this is what happened initially. Oh, that'll do it. He took the wrong road. He took the infield road course. And that's an unsafe pit exit penalty. And I think just here he actually realized it. And
that is
now
really funny.
I've seen drivers make that quote-unquote mistake during open practice sessions. You know, obviously drivers would do that during victory celebrations. I've never seen that happen during active race laps.
No, me neither. I guess he thought he was in a Super Formula, maybe, as Super Formula races at the Homestead Miami infield very, very often. It is a very fun infield track to run in that car. But unfortunately, he is in the next gen Cup car, and you do want to make your way onto the oval racing surface. But unfortunate confusion there for Ted Gamble is going to put him 3 laps down, as once you're in the road course, you're kind of committed. So I think what he had to do was park it on the road course, get towed back into pit lane, and just now he's able to get out of pit lane once again and rejoin the racing action. Here we go, Terry Vincent from 3rd place coming down pit road.
So Terry Vincent into the box for the first time tonight under green flag conditions. We're seeing a pit stop cycle started to open up here. This confirms the suspicions. We are not going to be able to go the distance here on fuel. Evan Stewart, Jamie Lee Dunning, Jonathan Dominics, and Chris Gexel all still have yet to come down. Ted Gamble, of course, has come down twice. 48 laps to go. Looking for 47 this time by. Does Evan Stewart come down now? He sure is. Evan Stewart on the brakes. Hits the apron. And your current championship leader is in a pit road.
And you have to remember, these guys weren't able to make it 40 laps on no fuel stops, on 1 tank of fuel. So coming down right now with 47 laps to go, Evan Stewart is committing to at least 1 more pit stop left in this race, unless he can do an amount of fuel saving unheard of from the guys behind, an amount of fuel saving unheard of. And that would make him so slow, I should say, excuse me. The amount of fuel saving that would make him so slow, so far off the pace, that he would lose the lead of the race. So he is committing to 1 more pit stop at least here. And Jonathan Dominics, and Jamie Lee Dunning, excuse me, have not committed yet. So if Jamie Lee Dunning has been fuel saving this entire stint and is able to make it to lap 40, lap 39, lap 38, he could be in contention still to win this race on fuel saving strategy alone. So it's not over yet. We only have 2 championship 4 contenders left in this race, but they could be on different strategies, which could give us a really good race in 46 laps time. The Keystone number 45 now gonna make his way down pit road.
Jonathan Dominics into the lane, as is Jamie Lee Dunning. Now, if these guys can really only go about 33 laps, that means we're not done pitting. Yeah, we're going to have 1 more set of stops ahead of us. So this race very much going to come down to a pit stop game, and it's going to be extremely dependent. And so the 54 comes down into the box. And out of pit road goes the 54. We are looking to go right back at it all over again.
So both Evan Stewart and Jamie Lee Dunning committing to at least one more stop left in this race. So they are not on alternate strategies, as I was kind of theorizing a couple minutes ago. They are indeed on the same strategy. And Jamie Lee Dunning not having a good pit stop at all, as not only did he lose 2 seconds to Evan Stewart, but he also is back behind Terry Vincent once again. So you see the undercut just 2 laps earlier is what Evan Stewart pitted, gained him about 2.5 seconds of on-track time, showing you how powerful the undercut is at ovals like Homestead.
So Stewart now with a 5.8 second advantage up the road from Terry Vincent. Jamie Lee Dunning sitting back in third. Jonathan Dominic's fourth. Danny Molinari fifth. Still got one more leg of this race left to go. What we can do right now here, Lucas, we can take a look at what is upcoming here on Green Flag TV as this race continues to pan out in spectacular fashion, I guess would be one way of putting it, for sure. Terry Vincent trying to see if he can get the run going. Jamie Lee Dunning looking to get around him as well. But coming up here on Green Flag TV, you're going to find yourself coming up here with the likes of the SRA IL Truck Series at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Then on Sunday, it's the Blazing Pedals ARCA Series making their run to Las Vegas, along with the Motor City Racing IMSA Championship down at Silverstone. Monday night sees the Belgian Sim Racing Federation take to Road America. Collegiate iRacing League Cup Series will be out of Kentucky. The High Tide Racing League at Darlington. And then here's a new one. Aspire Racing is back, but it is not with a Sports Car Championship. It is going to be the Porsche Cup Series coming at you from the Donington Park Racing Circuit. An all-UK championship will be set to go racing on Tuesday afternoon, along with others like OMSRL and Mars back for more on Tuesday afternoon as well. So lots to be excited about coming up here, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, I love the schedule we have coming up this week. I mean, obviously, Collegiate iRacing League racing Monday night at Kentucky. That is a league I've raced in for over 2 years. Love everybody in that league to absolute bits. That's going to be a great race just by itself. But then we have SRA at Indianapolis tomorrow night, which last time they were at Indianapolis in the trucks, the longest green flag run they made was 7 laps. But with the field getting much cleaner over the last 4 weeks due to the removal of the fast repair, I think that's going to be a really good race. They're going to be trying to beat that 7 green flag lap record. I think they can do it, and I think with the way that field is racing, the battles between Michael Gudger, Zane Bailey, Justin Sogak, Aaron Raymond, and Elliot Candro, that is going to be an amazing race tomorrow night, going live at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Not going to want to miss it at all if you love the Brickyard, if you love trucks, or if you just like some good old racing.
Stewart continues to lead. Jamie Lee Dunning 6 seconds down. We'll jump on board once more, this time with rookie Terry Vincent, and we'll let you feel the noise. 30 laps the distance here at the Homestead Miami Speedway as we continue to watch these drivers take the laps away. Nobody at this point within 3 seconds of one another on the racetrack. The running order as it stands for the championship: Stewart, Dunning, Siegfried, and Tester. Terry Vance and Jonathan Dominic standing Molinari right now, closing out the drivers that are not just only in the top 5, but also in the race.
Yeah, and it's been a race and a half so far. I mean, like no one says a lot. Don't know if we can quite call it a race, but it's definitely been eventful. That is something that nobody can argue. It has definitely been eventful. But Evan Stewart currently 6 seconds over his closest competitor, Jamie Lee Dunning, who's just right back there in second place. Stewart, of course, your Stage 2 winner, led most of that second stage, and once he took control of the race, really didn't look back at all. And that 37 machine still hasn't looked back, besides for his one pit stop, which happened just about 16 laps ago. So very shortly, probably in another 10 to 15 laps, we could see Evan Stewart making his final pit stop on his way to what will most likely be his first championship here in the Zero Torque Racing League, as he has driven a fantastic race so far, shown the pace, shown the raw speed he brings to this track. And unless Jamie Lee Dunning can find a crazy answer to Evan Stewart here in their final stint, Evan Stewart's looking like a clear favorite at the moment for your Season 2 Zero Torque Racing League champion.
Right now, 5 wins, 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s on the season, and it really does go to show what a good run that number 37 has had. And oh boy, contact with Ted Gambill coming off of turn 2. As the field continues to work their way around into 3 and 4. Mackey not able to be here tonight, and boy, I'm sure he's probably thinking to himself, boy, I don't even know how to react to that if I'm Chris Mackey, if I'm being completely honest, to how this race has gone this afternoon. It does lead the question, right? Had Mackey not had his moment with Tester at the end of Martinsville, where would he have been? I'm sure he would have been up in the top 5 trying to fight with these guys.
I mean, yeah, you have to think everything that kicked off as well. I don't know. We're looking at a butterfly effect type of scenario here, where it would be so hard to predict what would happen that there's no point in really predicting or trying to predict what would happen, as Evan Stewart now over the last couple of laps has extended that lead to 7 seconds now over the Keystone 54 machine of Jamie Lee Dunning. And this race still going to continue, just 24 laps to go. And I mean, yeah, that's all I could say. I'm out of words. I can't lie.
Looking for 20 laps to go before too much longer here. Lucas, we look back on the season as a whole, and I feel like you kind of have to put the whole big picture in perspective. I mean, the last 2 weeks, you know, this specifically this week and last week, the last 7 days have put such a massive black eye in the face of the Zero Torque Race League. And I feel like it's a real shame, and I feel like it's a shame that people could not control their emotions. I think it's a shame that people decided it was apparently necessary and acceptable to throw any sense of decorum out the window. Because the season was a good season. Yeah, they had its hiccups here or there. Every league does. Every series does. No season ever has a completely clean race. Look at the High Tide Racing League, a series that's normally regarded for pretty clean races. They've had their moments. Ole Miss Sorrell's had their moments. You know, every league has their good races and their bad races. And I can't help but be saddened with what this championship has come to, especially with the way things have panned out tonight.
I mean, yeah, looking back at the races, I have had the pleasure, out of these 22 races, I've casted alongside you about 18 of them, and there have been so many good memories I mean, thinking back to the first 6 races, all being won by 6 different people. Jamie Lee Dunning's win at Talladega to close off the regular season. The amazing fights that we had at the Charlotte Roval that was inevitably won by Evan Stewart. Akari King's Wright's round 16 win at Iowa. I mean, just looking back at my notes, I just remember certain points in the season that were so good. And the first 20 weeks of this season were absolutely amazing. We had, of course, a couple bad carrots in the bag, but that was all thrown out of the window, taken care of a little earlier. And besides that, it was so good. And like you said, it just sucks that this entire season now is going to be tainted by the past 2 races.
Ted Gambill getting around Chris Gaxel. These 2 drivers 4 laps down, but still fighting for position here. So you still have some drivers trying to make some something of this race here. As the Frontier Mustang gets around the Dark Horse Mustang from behind. And boy, Gaxel's car has seen better days. Jamie Lee Dunning down pit road, and it has been an extended pit stop for the driver of the number 54. Coming up on 2 minutes now for Jamie Lee Dunning. And if he is indeed out of this race, well, that settles it. Evan Stewart's your winner.
Yeah, no kidding. That would definitely settle it. And I guess in my big spiel about the the first 20 weeks of the season, I completely missed Jamie Lee Dunning coming down pit road. Let's take a replay and see what happened here. He was in the stall stop for 120 seconds before he got back on the track.
No, that was a regular pit stop there for Jonathan.
Yeah, that's Dominic.
This is Dominic I'm looking at. Okay, my apologies. I don't know why I thought that was Jamie Lee Dunning. That was okay. Here, listen, it's been a night.
We're all flabbergasted.
It has been a very long night. I don't know what to make of it. This is Jamie Lee Dunning. So again, this is a regular pit stop, fresh out of the box here.
I'm just curious how he went 5 laps down, and the pit stop counter did go up to 120 seconds at one point.
Well, it still is up there. He's out of the race. He's not in the session anymore.
Oh, the 54 is?
Yeah. So this is that was Jamie Lee Dunning coming out of pit road. This was about 20 minutes prior. So again, not quite sure what has happened to Jamie Lee Dunning. I feel like he may have just pulled it off the racetrack and called it a day, but looking like we are. Oh, hold on. A correction. No, that's Jonathan Dominus again. Don't do that. Yeah, no. Okay, so I do see Jamie Lee Dunning did pit at 138, and I think he's just pulled his car behind the wall, and that will make this official. Evan Stewart, your Season 2 champion.
Oh, congratulations, Evan Stewart. We've talked a lot about it. Very well deserved. This will be his 6th win on this season. Of course, his other wins coming at tracks like Richmond, Bristol,
Vitus Connection
Pocono, Roval, and Auto Club. Yeah, he's having some connection issues of his own. But Jamie Lee Dunning, I understand. 7 seconds off the lead. Joshua Siegfried, Robert Tester, other 2 competitors in the championship, already out of the race. You can pull into the pits and have a safely secured 2nd place in the championship. And, you know, unless Stewart makes a mistake, very small chance at actually taking the championship home at the end of the day. So makes sense why Jamie Lee Dunning called his race early. It does suck that we don't have a good last lap battle for the championship as I was hoping. But nonetheless, Evan Stewart, I honestly don't know if I can name a more deserving victor of this here tonight. I think 3 of the guys who have put on the best seasons. Yeah, I think. Okay. Well, let me.
I hate to be that guy, but it's hard to say if he's earned it because the driver, remember, that was in his race, Joshua Siegfried, got unfairly disqualified by, as I understand, Stephen Blevins. A session happened when this race was still ongoing. I mean, this championship. Now, I am not going to blame Evan Teswitz. I want to make that before because I can't cakewalk this, and I'm sorry, but I want to make this very clear before I say what I'm about to say. Evan Stewart is not to blame for what has happened tonight. He would have had no knowledge. He is not in a channel with any of these drivers. He has run a fantastic season. He is absolutely a deserving champion. But I want to point out, the driver that was leading this race, Joshua Siegfried, was disqualified for no apparent reason by a driver that had no business being in this race, that was given session administrative powers, and that is not involved in this race as a driver and has not been involved in this championship for some time. That is Stephen Blevins. That cannot be overlooked. That is after Robert Tester, who was also fighting for the lead, also got taken out. So as much as I am agreeing with you, Lucas, that Evan Stewart is a deserving champion, it is hard to say if he would have actually won this, because all of his competition was unfairly taken out. It has been unfairly manipulated in the favor of Evan Stewart through no fault of his own. It is such a black eye, and no driver wants to win a championship like that. It is a disgrace what we have witnessed here.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, at the end of the day, this is not how Evan Stewart would have wanted to win his championship. I mean, one of the best characters in the field. He's definitely gonna be ashamed that it happens this way, but like you said, it's completely out of his control. I mean, his other people that he had no discussion with, no conversation with, went out of their ways to, you know, essentially remove his competition from this race. But Evan Stewart obviously didn't have any say in anything that were to happen. And of course, coming into this race and know the season overall, I think there are 3 people that have showed the most pace of the season and 3 people that were the most deserving of this win. I think of those 3, Evan Stewart was definitely one of them. The other 2, of course, being TJ Ivey, who has 5 wins of his own, but got taken out of Martinsville last week and wasn't able to compete in the championship for. And of course, Robert Tester, your regular season champion, who got completely taken out of this race by the 24th Austin Guerrero very blatantly. But at least out of those 3, Evan Stewart is among those 3, one of the most deserving drivers to win this championship. And really great season from him overall. And he showed tremendous pace here tonight at Homestead.
He has. And I'm not trying to discount that at all. Evan Stewart has run an amazing race. Not just an amazing race, but an amazing season. Again, 5 wins, 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s. That cannot be taken away from him. You do not get those by fluke alone. Evan Stewart is a very deserving champion. I'm sure a lot of us, while some of us are very much happy for him that he's winning this championship, no one can be happy about how he is winning this championship. And the people that are very supportive of what has happened tonight, they need to take a very hard and long look in the mirror at themselves, because there is a lot of maturing that needs to be done from certain individuals after tonight. 7 laps to go. We are officially in the end game here this afternoon. And we are going to look to battle this one out for a potential championship win here this afternoon. Evan Stewart continuing to lead the charge. For those wondering why you do not currently hear Lucas Moody, it has been because we have also been removed from the ZTRL Racer Discord, just like TJ Ivey was, just like Austin Guerrero was, just like
I am back. How's it going, Nolan?
Well, just explaining, we have both been removed from the ZTRL Racer Discord server. We are going to continue finishing this race because we have been here throughout all of this, and frankly, the people that have stuck around throughout this, whatever this is, they deserve to see this race brought to its conclusion. But we have both been removed. Evidently, certain individuals did not appreciate how we were being spoken. We are, of course, broadcasters. Lucas, it is our job to tell a story. It is our job to call stuff out as we see it, tell the story how it is. We are not biased on this channel. We never have been. But we always have we always have our own motives and our own morals that we have to stand by. And I am not going to put fault on other Zero Torque Racing League admins for this. I am pretty sure I know who's responsible. They know who is responsible. And I'm sure the situation there will be handled justly. But right now, we are going to finish this race out because that is what, frankly, the folks that have been watching at home deserve. We have 2 laps to go. It's a shame we will not be able to talk to Evan Stewart or Terry Vincent, who has come away after quite the ride this afternoon. Lucas, your final thoughts as we get set to close out a championship here.
I am just so in shock and surprised with the circumstances that have played out tonight. As Nolan said, we are broadcasters. We tell stories. We show to the people the unbiased facts and the unbiased of what is happening on the racetrack. And I've put a lot of emphasis on the racetrack. We try to stay outside, or try to stay out of all of the extra noise happening in the leagues, out of the that's outside of the racetrack, unless it absolutely needs to be said on stream, or if it impacts what you're seeing on the racetrack itself. But the fact that us as casters, us as commentators, oh, sorry, I can't.
Don't get me wrong. I hate to cut you off, but we got Evan Stewart working the final. I'll let you finish your point afterwards. Don't worry. You absolutely deserve to. But right now, Evan Stewart rounding the final corner. And Stewart, winner of the Zero Torque Racing League and its second championship, 6 wins, 10 top 5s, 10 top 10s. And Stewart walks out of this the sole survivor of a controversial championship race.
Yeah, and huge hats off to Evan Stewart. We talked about it. Amazing season, amazing pace all race. Even with everything that's happened tonight, Evan Stewart had an amazing season overall. And I think a lot of people at home, a lot of people watching this will be excited to see Evan Stewart being crowned as your Season 2 champion.
It has been quite a journey here today. And Evan Stewart will be able to burn it down as a champion. I don't know if he will, frankly. I know that Evan Stewart is likely just crushed in that car with how this championship has played out. It's not the way anybody ever wants to win a title. He definitely deserves it. No one is saying he doesn't, but it is such a shame to see a championship go out this way and to see certain individuals behaving the way they did tonight. Evan Stewart will burn it down to the front straightaway.
Yeah, and to finish my point really quickly, we only bring the off-track drama into the cast when it affects what's going on track and when it changes playoff situations and stuff like that. The fact we've had to bring it into a cast here tonight for not on race circumstances is really unfortunate for everybody here at Green Flag TV, for everybody watching, and really unfair to the community as a whole of iRacing and the people here, and really unfair to us as casters, because we're put on live broadcast dealing with these situations live, and we have to make sure we don't step out of line and say anything that could get us in more than we already be in. So the circumstances that have played out today, I am honestly just glad that this race is over, because, I mean, this is unlike anything I've ever gone through.
Well, we're going to get ourselves a chance to go through your race results. As I understand, we're going to try to see if we can arrange ourselves the post-race interview. So what we're going to do here, Lucas, we're going to jump ourselves back here, and we'll take ourselves a quick break. We'll be back with the post-race show in a moment. You're watching the final race of Zero Torque Racing League on Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. We are just at the tail end of what has been a race for sure here this afternoon. We're going to take ourselves a quick look at the official post-race results here. Coming to the end of the second season of the Zero Torque Racing League, Evan Stewart takes home the race win this afternoon by 16 seconds. In doing so, he will bring home a championship as well. Jonathan Dominics closes this one out on the podium. Danny Molinari back in fourth, one lap down. Ted Gambill will finish this one off in fifth. Chris Gaxel in sixth. Jamie Lee Dunning finishes this race, fails to finish this race, period, in seventh. TJ Ivey back in eighth. Robert Tester in ninth. Joshua Siegfried disqualified unfairly in this race. He will finish this race down in 10th, with the likes of Austin Guerrero also finishing down to the tail end. And Eric Morton did not make the start of racing action tonight. Well, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get him, but I think we have been able to get a word in here with your championship winner here this afternoon. We didn't think this was going to happen, but we are able to make it happen. This is going to be quite the ride for a lot of the field here this afternoon. And, well, we're going to get Evan Stewart the chance to have his championship interview, deservedly so. Evan, talk us through the night, because I'm sure you have your own opinions on what has happened. We obviously give our opinions up here of what happened, and while everyone thinks you're a deserving champion, I know you didn't want to win it this way.
Yeah, like I was telling my spotter, and it went from me earning it, because, you know, I've drove my way up to racing tester for the stage win, stage one, handily won stage two, and then, you know, everybody's got to bring drama into what's none of their business or whatever, and just make it worthless. You know, I worked hard for this, and for me to just get removed from a server, and, you know, for people to come in and DQ other people and remove other people in a race because they're blinking, but they let them race a whole 2 stages. You know, it's just stuff like that I don't want to be a part of anything like that, and it makes me feel like I really didn't deserve it, but I know I deserved it. I won 6 races. I led a bunch of laps. I consistently showed up. The people I developed great relationships with: Jonathan Dominics, Jamie Lee Dunning, TJ Ivey, and I'll never take that back. I love racing those guys. But for a race to turn out like this, it's kind of hard to be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's focus on the good as well as the bad, right? Because like you said, 6 wins, 10 top 5s, 10 top 10s. I mean, you know, some people might say, yeah, you took it in a rigged race, but at the same time, you know, those stats don't come with nothing. You were always going to make it into the Final Four regardless of what happened. You made your way in very fairly at Martinsville Speedway as well. And what's going to be the so you look to everything before Martinsville. How do you think you could sum up your season, and what do you think were some of the high points for you?
I think it was definitely a breakout season for me. I run a lot of leagues with Jordan Fisher, and I was struggling, and I did this as like an off-season thing to help me learn the next gen, just get better, iron out my rough patches, and I think it definitely it. I love doing this. It's hard to find a hobby that you consistently love doing, and I get in the sim rig every day, and there's nothing that makes me happier than loading up and racing a race car.
Well, what's next then for that number 37 car at this point?
We'll see. Go win some more races. Hopefully, go win a couple more championships.
Well, you came to make a statement, Evan, and make a statement you certainly did. Congratulations on taking home a championship here this afternoon, and we'll see you whenever we see you on track next.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys as always. You do a really amazing job.
Evan Stewart
Thank you
comes.
so much, Evan.
Yes, thank you indeed. Evan Stewart comes home number 1 in the championship here this afternoon, and well, that brings our show to a close, as well as this championship this afternoon. Not the run we were hoping to have here this afternoon, and I know that's going to be a sentiment shared by a lot of drivers in this field. It's always tough to say goodbye to a championship, especially one that has been so good and had to end in such a fashion here. But overall, I mean, I think we did what we came to do, right? We told the story, and we crowned a champion here at the end of the night. That is exactly what we set out to do, enter a racing action here today. And I tell you what here, Lucas, I think no regrets.
Yeah, I'm just super glad that we got the viewers the entire story, not only from lap 1 of today to lap 160, but also from race 1 all the way back in Daytona, all the way to race 22 here in Homestead. And I think what really wrapped up the stream really good for me was Evan Stewart saying in his interview how much just getting in the sim rig and getting behind a race car and how happy that makes him feel. What more deserving of a champion than one who just loves to drive here on iRacing. Hats off to Evan Stewart. Congratulations, and what a season we've had.
An absolutely stellar afternoon for you here, Lucas. And, of course, we want to thank the folks for watching us along from home here for what has been a wild season indeed for the ZTRL Racing League. Whatever comes next, we, of course, wish them the best. And who knows? Perhaps we'll be back one day, perhaps not. For better or for worse, the ZTRL Racing League second season draws to a close. And we're happy that everybody here was able to join us from start to finish. Once again, my name is Little Rebel alongside Lucas Moody. We've been bringing you all the action from start to finish here on Friday nights. A championship is brought to a close. I'm sure that's not the last time we've seen Evan Stewart here on Green Flag TV. Be sure to check out the SRA-IAL Truck Series when we go racing tomorrow night for more at the Brickyard. And with that, it is time for us to bid the farewell. We'll see you all next time when we go racing for more on Green Flag TV.
Peace.